Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of the 𝗪𝗲𝗍 podcast on the Story Tinker, which is called Mad Maid. And we are with Laura and Fwoot today.
Hello, hello. This is Laura. And we just, Fwoot, do you want to say hi?
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Okay, so Mad Maid, we open up with just a panel of the night sky. And it's just really dark outside and it looks kind of dingy. And we know from the previous chapter that this is not the greatest of neighborhoods. Kieran actually calls it one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in 𝗪𝗲𝗃. This is in 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃. And then we see a panel of Lonely Travelers Inn. That really pretty floral logo. I don't know what kind of. Oh, are they? I was like, I don't know what kind of flowers are there. Cool.
Not at all on my mind because Midnight Populace season 2 just came back. But and by the way, I think the choice of the choice of name for the inn, it's not something jolly and cheerful like the enjoy your travels inn or the rest your bones and get a pot of soup inn. It's like the Lonely Travelers Inn,
Yeah, it really suits the neighborhood that it's in. And it like you said, it's like the name, when you're naming a business, you want to think about the kind of clientele you want. So I can't imagine any posh folk wanting to come stay at the Lonely Travelers Inn. Yeah. And then we have a panel of the employee only door, I'm guessing in the back of the inn, and a couple of workers. This one dude saying,
only, you can guess it's not going to be employees only there. You feel like somebody's going to infiltrate.
Which we know from the previous chapter that Lauren wants to do.
And I think we see like a little shadow right in the first entry panel, which I literally did not notice until now.
Of the employee only?
The second one, when you see the employees, there's like a shadow on the right.
Oh. You think that's Lauren?
Yeah,
it probably is.
Oh,
I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, I'm starting to
you'll hear the second one too.
I see the shadow of the two men on the employees only panel, but then in the next panel you see these two men in front of.
Right. And then in that panel, Lauren's on the right and she's also in the next panel.
Yeah, but on the first employees panel there's two forms, so it makes sense it's the two men, even though the light source is, even though if they were casting the shadow, the light source should. Oh, we're talking about different shadows. Yeah. Yes. Okay, wait. So on the far one with the two men, where do we see them for the first time? There's
a silhouette. Right.
Yeah, but on the employees panel, the employees only, there's also a shadow.
So it's probably from the two guys walking towards the door. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sorry, I heavily misunderstood that.
We got it. So yes, lots of shadows all around. Nighttime, shadowy figures. Lauren's trying to be sneaky. So the one guy says, have you seen Miss Johnson today? And the other guy says, nope, they said she was on sick leave. So it's kind of reinforcing the idea that this is kind of a seedy part of town where the employees are sick and they can't come to work. That's my interpretation anyway. Yeah, she was coughing a lot yesterday. We keep going. Hope she gets better soon. Poor lady. So they're walking into the inn as they're talking. Click, opens the door. The second guy walks in. The door starts to close, creak, and then thump. We see a gloved hand grab the door right before it closes. And then the next panel is Lauren in all her glory as this mad maid. She does look mad.
Yeah, yes, I would be mad too if I had to wear that outfit.
And Kieran, if it was Kieran, the one who made her wear this outfit, I would be furious.
You wear this outfit, I'll be sitting subterfugely in the shadows. You could go pretend to be leaner.
Yeah, this entire inn arc, except Kieran and Lauren have switched places, and Kieran's the one in the maid dress.
Oh, didn't someone draw fan art, by the way, of Kieran in a maid dress? I'm pretty sure I've seen a fan art.
Probably at some point. There's probably been a couple.
Right.
So it's funny because Lauren said she wants to infiltrate, which connotes being sneaky and quiet, but she slams the door She is not quiet or subtle at all. She's like comes in with such force that the door slams and her skirt flies up so you can see something on her leg. When I first read this, I thought it was a gun. I thought it was like her police gun, but if you zoom in, we can see it's not a gun. Can't necessarily maybe tell what it is right now, but it's not a gun.
I think it's a camera.
It is, but I don't think we learn that until the next episode.
Oh.
So there she is, and she's like fully in the light also. She's like really not trying to hide at all. And then you can see that she's so mad in the next panel. Ugh, why am I the one doing this while the other guy's ordering drinks and mingling at the bar? So annoyed. Got that little annoyed mark on her face. And then while she's thinking about the bar, then we go down to the bar, and there's a panel of a bottle of wine. And then the next panel is Kieran sipping something and just kind of sitting in the corner, sitting in the shadows. And this panel was really familiar to me. So I was like, where have I seen this before? And I went back and I looked. It's the same like shot almost exactly as back in episode 14 when he was prepping the file against 𝗥𝗏𝗃. So I'm pretty sure he was in the same bar because it's like the same light, it's the same like paneling, it's the same angle he was sitting from, it's the same chairs. It's like different lighting between this chapter and the other chapter, but I'm like 95% sure it's the same place. So at first I was like, Kieran, why are you sitting in such an obvious spot? Like we can see that you are almost like in exact line. Like if you were to line people up, like they're in the same line. He's not trying to be sneaky at all because he's just like, I can see you head on, not the 𝗥𝗏𝗃, this is Flemming. I can see you head on, Flemming. But maybe for him, this is kind of camouflage because he comes there so frequently. Like he comes to this spot and he sits in that same spot so often. So maybe it's not out of the ordinary for him to sit right there.
And I thought you were going to say that this scene reminded you of episode 1 when he was spying on Lauren.
Oh, in the cafe.
It seems like, yeah, it seems like it's something he likes to do when he's spying on people, just to like, get something to drink and then sit down in a really obvious spot that anyone can see him in. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he frequents this bar and people know who he is, like even just like, I don't know what they're called. Sniper? No, like, I don't know. Gutter snipes, that's it. In episode 5, we see that like these really lowly guys know Kieran's identity, which, first of all, a horrible way to base your terrorist organization where like, one of your best assassins is widely known among gutter snipes. Like how has Kieran not been like sold off to the police already in exchange for like, less jail time or something like that? But anyways, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people are aware that he is the Phantom Scythe here, and that's why they don't bother him.
Yeah, because I think it was in a previous episode where he was talking about like, Lauren, no, you're not going to, what is this bar called?
Only Travelers?
No, that's the inn. This is the
𝗏𝗏𝗃?
Yeah, thank you, 𝗏𝗏𝗃. You're not going to the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 because they can smell newcomers from a mile away and they're gonna like tear you apart. So like people know and can tell that he's rough, I guess. I had another thought, but I forgot what it was, so I guess it wasn't important. So continuing on, we see Flemmings is looking at his watch, and I think it says like 9 o'clock, so he's indicating he's waiting for somebody. And then there is a wide shot of Flemming, and you can see Kieran in the background, and you can also see like the bottle of wine that first introduced the bar a couple panels up above. And I don't know a whole lot about like filmography or like camera angles and stuff, but I've been noticing that the creators like really make interesting angle choices. So if you scroll up again to where the bar was first introduced, that's like from the angle of the floor looking up, because the bottle of wine and the thing that it's sitting in is really not that big. Because when you look at this wide shot of the bar, it's like it maybe comes up to like your waist. I don't know what to say about that. Just like, oh, that's an interesting choice. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know,
think,
just to establish the place, go on Fwoot.
yeah, probably just to establish the place, and by putting it on the floor, it makes us feel smaller, which is technically how we should feel as an audience, because if this is a Phantom Scythe freak like bar and where a lot of Phantom Scythe members frequent a lot, then like realistically we would feel small going in because we don't really know what to expect. We'd be a little scared.
Yeah, totally. That's a really good point. Thank you. That really helps illuminate the scene, even though it's so dark. So then Kieran says, he's talking to himself, looks like I was right. He's waiting for someone. And clack, take it over, Fwoot.
Okay, so I'm picking it up where we see this beautiful heel, like this shoe, like a foot in it, you know what I mean? This heel steps down with a clack, and a woman, what appears to be a woman, starts walking into the bar, and her shoes are making a clack sound because of the heel. And as we scroll down, we see her body, but we don't see her face. And then we see some locks of her hair and some men staring at her who say, wow. And then we see her face, and she is a goddess among mortals.
You know what comes to mind? So I've never seen the movie Pretty Woman, but I know the song. So it's like, pretty woman, don't walk on by. Like that's like what these guys are all thinking.
Yes, she is gorgeous.
This entrance actually gives me more Dangerous Woman by Rosenfield vibes, but that's a different topic. Anyways, this beautiful woman who is vastly superior to any of the men in this room walks in.
Wait, Kieran's in that room.
Mindy,
Yes.
I meant every single word
said.
that I said. Mindy, I said what I said. She is a goddess among mortals here. Those mortals being men.
And she wants everyone to know it. She comes in and really makes an impression. Like she wants people to notice her. Clack, clack with her heels, her pink hair, her like really sparkly jewelry. She is making an impression.
Eye makeup and those nice rosy lips, and her outfit is also quite beautiful. You know, it's like a corset and like well-tailored pants and suit, and like she is definitely someone who dresses to impress. And her attitude walking in, I'm pretty sure, is quite cocky as well.
Yeah, so she has a red bodice corset, which is a statement piece all on its own, and then the very slim pants, well, kind of slim, and then the coat, which is billowing as she walks, and then the pink hair, which is also flowing as she walks, and the earrings with, as well as like the what's it called, like the choker? Yeah, choker, along with the choker, the lipstick, the eyes, and the way that her hair is flowing up and framing her face. She looks magnificent, and it's very extravagant, even for what it seems to be a more casual setting.
Like the way that they put it in is also like visually amazing. Like the foot, and it's like backlit against just tons of light, right? And you see like that the ribbon sneaking up her leg, and then you see her body, and then you see the reaction, the hair, and then you see her. So it's like building it up slowly in anticipation.
So as soon as we see her face, it cuts to Kieran, and he says, "Belladonna Davenport. Well, this is about to get interesting." And then we cut it. Yeah. And then we cut again to this nice lady who looks kind of like Lila, but brunette. And she is just doing some work at a front desk. So she's probably like the inn secretary. And then we see a shadow on her from behind.
Secretary soul sister.
Yeah. And then a thwack. And suddenly she's not there. And then Lauren pops up. And she pulls out the Lonely Traveler's Inn, and I think this is like I don't know what they would call it, like a manager book, or where they like basically list where everyone when everyone checked in and when everyone checked out and which rooms they're staying.
And
so,
I went, sorry, just real quick. I went back and forth through these couple panels a couple times because I was like, where did Lauren come from? Like, there's not really any room for her to sneak around the desk, or, I mean, maybe, is that a door behind the secretary? I was so confused how Lauren got to sneak behind her to knock her out.
I think it looks like it's maybe open on the right side of the secretary. I don't see the desk closing there, so I don't know. Maybe
My
the secretary's
headcanon,
not very observant.
my headcanon is that she curled like, you know, on the roof upside down. Like Spider-Man. Because I mean, she is jumping three floors up. Like, we saw her. She literally jumped up a three-floor building in episode, like, what, 25? So, like, you know, if she has that Spider-Man ability, why not this Spider-Man ability as well?
I love it.
So Lauren starts flipping through the pages of the books, and she brings her finger down to Ryan Flemmings, and he's staying in room 336, and he checked in on December 20th at 19 hours and 30 minutes, which, for everyone who doesn't use military time and basically Americans, is
7:30.
yeah, 5:30. Wait, it's me. I'm the American. It's 7:30. Anyway, that was brutally ironic in the best way possible. Anyway, she sees it. It's room 336. And she's like, perfect. And then we cut back to the bar. And Bella is ordering herself a drink at the bar. And she is talking to the other man who is seated, like, up there at the bar. And she says, Flemmings, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you've had a wonderful time overseas. And he says, you should know, Davenport, things were actually going pretty well before I left. And now I hear the operation is being wrecked by rats. And she says, you're better informed than I thought. We don't know who they are yet, but they call themselves Lune. And Fleming says,
we can, I mean, now that I'm reading this with retrospect, I'm wondering, like, you know, how much of this is true? Like, is it true, or does Belladonna actually know a little bit more about Lune, or maybe not yet at this point? Or is she, like, because he seems to be the kind of person, like, we'll learn later, who keeps things to herself and, like, you know, doesn't let everyone know what's going on in her brain. So now that I'm, like, we're looking at it again, I'm wondering, is this true?
Well, she's known by Kieran, so he is, like, at least aware of her, and because of the way that he acknowledged her when she came in, it does seem like they have a history together. And since Kieran is the purple hyacinth, it is safe to assume that that Bella also has a pretty high position, at least in the Phantom Scythe hierarchy, or that she does play an important role in the Phantom Scythe. So she might have access to intel that Flemmings does not.
But hopefully no one knows who Lune is. They're trying to keep everyone in the dark about who Lune is. But we see in this panel that the camera angle has changed again, and we see Flemmings and Bella, like, way far away, but we see the, like, profile of Kieran right there when they're talking about Lune. Like, the creators simply, we see you, Lune. We see you, Kieran, you're there.
At this point, because there have been, wait, have they? I think they've gone through all four. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've had all four Lune convicts right now. So yeah, I was thinking, like, only Onslow and 𝗥𝗏𝗄𝗏, but no, Harvey has died at this point, and Kieran and Lauren almost died at this point. So yeah, there have been four. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, people did have their own speculations on who Lune is, and it's not really controversial to say that there is someone in the Phantom Scythe who is Lune. Like, I think that is, again, another safe assumption because of how much Lune has on the Phantom Scythe, and in particular someone who's kind of high ranking, because, like, you know, it takes a lot to get access to this information. Like, even the police have a hard time getting access to this information, like the police's spies. So the Phantom Scythe, if they're smart and they're looking for a mole, they should be looking for someone high ranking and someone who has free time and is able to do a lot of digging or has access to a lot of information. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bella suspected it was Kieran, because it is implied that these two have a history, and so they probably know each other, and which is important because I don't think we've really met anyone who it has been specifically implied that Kieran had a history with. So this makes Belladonna a very important character when it comes to Kieran's backstory, and it makes their relationship something that's going to be very, very interesting, especially if she suspects that he's Lune.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And before we continue on in the episode, I really love the way the panels are lit. It really reminds me of like a stage play. Like going back up a couple, Flemmings, Belladonna, and Kieran, they all have like their own little light above them. And we can see that there are other people in the room, but they're in the dark because they're not important. And like anytime one of them speaks, they are what's the word? They're put into focus while the other one is like out of focus. And like the light is a little bit more strong on the person who's talking. Like I almost feel like I'm in a play when I'm reading this. It's so fun.
Oh, that's great. And I have like a totally irrelevant detail. I love what's his name's eye color. It's like this gorgeous light blue, and I'm like a sucker for light blue eyes or any blue eyes. Like, wow, this is really pretty.
I didn't even notice. That's Flemmings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this gorgeous blue. Anyway.
Oh my god. I swear, if anyone here is a Flemming simp.
No, I don't simp for Flemmings, but I do simp for his eyes.
Well then, it's basically as bad, Mindy. So Fleming said, so it's true. On 𝗤𝗏𝗃 and Blakesley were all arrested. And Bella says, Colden too, just a few days ago. All in the span of 2 months, which again, we see December 20th earlier for when Fleming checked in. So it kind of gives us another idea of how much time has passed.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even noticed that. Good eye.
Yeah. All in the span of 2 months is honestly closer. If we started off on November 17th, it's closer to 1 month, which is, I don't know, this is your first idea that the PH timeline is a little bit weird, especially since I feel like, okay, minor spoilers, but in season 2 right now, when we're filming this, we just had the New Year's party, which should have been 10 days after this, but that would be physically and logically impossible to have this, like, 10, 11 days after this scene here, because it's implied that like Flemming's checked in before this, if Bella is saying it's like in the span of 2 months, because maybe there's been a little bit more time, because really it's only been like, if this is December 20th, it's only been like 1 month and 3 days, and that's 1 month. I'm sorry, it's not 2 months.
Well, maybe Bella's sense of time is a little off. She's like, it hasn't been that long, but no more than 2 months.
Someone else mentioned, I mean, I think another character also mentioned it's 2 months, but one of my favorite videos is a video webtoon Hattie made, and it's like a 20-minute video. She goes through the whole timeline up to the point where she made the video, and it's hilarious because like there's just so many ways that the timeline is not possible. And Sophie Sam like shared it, and she's like, yeah, you're right, like we messed it up all the time.
Yeah. This
It must
has
be
been
hard.
on Discord. The timeline has kind of been a joke like among the theory community since like November. We kind of gave up at one point, but it was around then that we had like this discussion. It lasted 1 or 2 hours, and it was basically just screaming over the timeline because none of us could figure it out. And I remember like the last few episodes that we got to were like in the 60s, like late 60s, so which lines up with November time. But yeah, we were like we couldn't figure anything out. And oh, it was pure chaos. And yeah, since then I have almost stopped trying to figure out the timeline, except when moments like these come up and I can be like, the timeline was wrong. Nothing makes sense. Reality is a hologram. Anyways.
I
So
just want to point out that in this panel, you know, Belladonna, like you can already get a sense of her personality because, you know, she's talking about like serious business, but she's just examining her nails. It cools a cucumber. I'm like, yeah, you know, you can kind of be not surprised that she and Kieran were have some acquaintance with each other, because Kieran is like cocky and overconfident and dramatic, and she walks in all cocky and confident and dramatic, and Kieran is like charming and, you know, makes light of things, and she's doing that right now. And it's, yeah, you can see why they would know each other.
it's the queen energy for me. She is a walking icon. Anyways, Flemming says, damn it, and the whole time I was busting my ass handling transactions and shipments in foreign countries while these idiots were wrecking everything at home. 4 of us caught so easily. That's unheard of. And they all believed it was the leader's plan and not the apostle taking the reins himself.
Oh my God,
important there.
Can I just like say, like, what is wrong with him? He's in a public bar. He's basically screaming this. I'm like, you are so dumb. Like, you ever heard of discretion? Like, you're just telling everyone the plan.
Yeah, and it seems like they were trying to be discreet at the beginning because they're not sitting super close to each other and they're not making eye contact really that often. So they're not like trying to call attention to the fact that they're having a conversation. But then he like slams the counter. He starts yelling.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, and like they're loud enough that Kieran can hear them. And this is why I still believe that even though Belladonna is participating in this conversation, she's not the one who's yelling right now like Flemmings is and getting mad. She's not the one drawing attention like to herself because of her behavior, mainly just because of how she looks and holds herself, but otherwise like they're not really getting really bothered by anyone. But it's Flemmings who has no brain cells here. Bella is the only capable person right now. And I guess Kieran's doing some spy work, but Kieran also has no brain cells most of the time.
Well, undisguised.
Mainly all the time, but you know, sometimes it shines through. And I'm like, wow, you can't think. But anyways, Flemmings holds a special place in my heart for how much I hate him.
Oh.
Because he could literally do things so much better if he had like 2 extra brain cells, but he can't, and he's just incompetent. And I hope someday someone takes some golden viper venom to his throat and kills him.
Wow. You want him to go so painfully.
Yes, that is what he deserves. And I don't say people deserve death, except when it's Flemmings.
Okay. Wait, I can think of a few other people you said it to, but
oh yeah, but they haven't been introduced yet.
Okay.
So.
But he is surprised because he didn't know that it was the apostle who was gathering all this. And they were unknowingly working for.
Mm-hmm. So that's very important because we thought they were like they were going up this hierarchy to find the leader, but no. Or well, they were going to go to the apostle, right, to then get the leader. But this whole operation isn't the leaders doing, it's actually the apostles, which is very, very important because I feel like some people forget that, especially because it gets a little murky, but the bombs are being hijacked by the apostle. So Kieran says, the apostle, and he whispers it to himself. And Bella says, as you can guess, the apostle is furious. Hence why we're having a little meet at the 𝗪𝗏𝗃 in a couple of days. We'll receive new directives then.
And this gives Kieran pause. You can see he's holding his cup and there's like little marks around his cup as if he stopped motion. He's like, oh, that's good to know.
Bella still is speaking loud, even if she's not yelling. She is still speaking loud enough for Kieran to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be terrible at this.
But then she also is closer to him, so. Anyways,
Yeah, so that's
forgot when we're supposed to switch.
yeah.
So
Now we're switching to Lauren. So now we go to Lauren. Lauren is looking snazzy in her outfit and with her little glasses, pince nez glasses on her nose. And which, by the way, people in our hollis apparently don't have glasses like sticks, whatever they're called. They stay miraculously balanced on their nose.
Legs or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, she stole a pair from Tristan.
Yeah, exactly. So she's at the inn. The inn, by the way, has like this insignia on the door of like it looks like a crown to me in the back. Anywho, so she's going down the hallway, and guess who she sees? My, who miraculously shows up in all the oddest places. It's the butler and Lady A. And this time she has it's actually cute, sorry. It's just a cute dress. It's like pink and purple, and it's like tropical themed. And on her head, she has a whole assortment of giant fruit. She has like a banana and a watermelon and cherries, and it's actually pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that reminds me. You know who else I want to see get Capri-Sunned?
Yes.
Which is fandom term for like, golden viper venomed. Her. I would love to see Lady A get Capri-Sunned. That would literally make my day, make my year, make my entire lifetime. So, F and Soph, if you're hearing this, please just, just slit her throat. It's not even that hard to do. Like, you can just pop in there and then pop out, and she's gone, and I'm happy.
Better idea. She could be crushed by the weight of all her extravagant hairdos. I think if you put all like her hairdos in one room, like she probably has them all like laid out, like they could just fall down on her, and then she would probably die.
Mindy, I genuinely thought you were going to say that she would be crushed by the weight of her sins, because honestly, that is greater than the weight of her hair in any scenario.
And it is very suspicious that they're here, because in the previous episode, Kieran described this neighborhood as one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in our hollis, and she presents herself as someone who is like well-to-do and high and mighty, whatever. But so like, why are they both in the Lonely Travelers Inn? It does seem weird.
The inn, by the way, looks pretty nice. Like the hallway itself looks nice, and like we see the room service cart that she has in a second. It does look pretty nice. So I don't know why there's such a nice place in that neighborhood, but okay. So Lauren's like ducks back into the hallway. She's like, what the hell? Which is like totally a justifiable reaction. And pay attention, because these people show up a lot, and I think it's suspicious. So anywho, I'm positive that they will feature in the plot. I don't know, maybe we're all fooled in his comedic relief, but I don't think so. So she sees this cart with, like a linen cart, and she's like, okay, great idea. And she pushes it, and she like kind of hides herself behind it as she goes down the hallway. It's like squeaking, and she manages to get by the butler and Lady A hiding behind the cart. And she's like, whew, she has passed them, and then she like proceeds down the hallway, and she's like, where is the goddamn room? She can't find it. And she's like, a few moments later, and it's like a SpongeBob SquarePants theme apparently. She's still looking, and she's like, he passes by this giant statue with the bar of the towel bear like strategically placed, because the statue is naked, and it's obviously it's Michelangelo's David, but it says David Thornberry, and the head has been replaced by the head of the butler, and he's like, I don't know, eating grapes or something. So it's funny. And then she passes by the Peppa Lisa, which instead of being the Mona Lisa, it's Peppa Pig Lisa. It's cute. And she passes by David.
Masterpiece.
Well, yes. And she's like, didn't I walk past this already? She's like so frustrated. She can't find the room. And she's like, ah. And
again, she's trying to be sneaky. She's trying to be someone infiltrating the hall. She's making so much noise.
Yeah. And then we go back to the bar, and we see again Belladonna, Kieran, Flemmings, and Belladonna, I think, pushes a bunch of a manila folder to him. It says report. Papers are in there, kind of messy. And he slams his hand on it. He receives it. Bella tells him, you should really take good care of these documents. Otherwise, smirk, you know what will happen to you, don't you? Okay, threatening him. And she's like, of course, what do you take me for? Assassin. So now we learn she's an assassin. I'm not half as incompetent as the other good-for-nothings. He's pretty arrogant, by the way. Like his tone of voice and his judgment is pretty harsh.
But also he was like yelling earlier, just a couple of minutes ago. So you're not as competent as you think you are, sir.
Yeah. And you know, Bella says as much. She's like, we'll see about that, Flemmings, while she's sipping her martini. And he, you know, Flemmings tucks the report into his pocket. He gets up and he leaves. And now we go back to Lauren, who has finally found room 336. She's super excited. And she's singing, whoa, I guess that's her. Because she's like, redemption.
I could hear it like, oh, like the angels singing. She found the door finfinally.
This is going to be the best redemption arc in the entire series. And it's only episode 33.
Right. There's like light shining on her, you know, she sounds grace. That's great. And she takes off a hairpin and she picks the door. So it's great. Thank you, Lauren. It's nice to know you have this skill. And again, we go back to the bar where Kieran is still sitting there in the shadows and Bella is there. And Bella smiles at her empty cup. Kieran gets up to leave, but of course, Bella tells him, you know, it's not very polite to eavesdrop. And Kieran's like, his eyes go wide open. He's like, oh, shizzle. Yeah, Kieran, you also were not very sly. Say hello, this is 𝗤𝗏𝗰𝗁.
Hi.
Hello.
And Bella smirks at him and she's like, Mr. PH. So yeah, so she knows who he is. And then she says, or rather, Kieran. And the last shot that we have is of Kieran looking stunning, in my opinion, as usual. Looking very boyish. And this is just a beautiful shot. And like, yeah, so now we know, okay, Belladonna knows that he's the perfect anthem, the PH, and she knows his name. So intriguing. How does she know him? What is she going to tell him?
And this last shot of Kieran, I think, is he looks a little vulnerable because he's tried to keep himself in the shadows this whole time. And when she calls out to him, Mr. PH, he's still in the shadows, or rather Kieran. And then like he's exposed, you know, he's in the light. And you can also see as he turns around, his jacket opens a little bit. You can see his knife as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I didn't notice that.
I thought it was his katana because that hilt is pretty long. So
yeah, I always wonder how he keeps it disguised. Like I don't keep an eye out for it as much as I should probably, but yeah, it's must be pretty hard to drag a sword around.
I'm pretty sure F said something about it last night. If I can find it, actually. I don't know. It was something about like Kieran's blade being like really obvious. Okay, so found it. Okay, F said, no, his sword has reason to be there in general most of the times. Okay, shh. Because it was like, I think someone was saying how it's kind of irrelevant. Like in this scenario. It's like he's doing the spy work, not like he's the one who's like chilling in the bar. It's more Lauren who needs the weapons if she gets herself in a tight situation, not him.
Probably just always carries it, I imagine.
It's like, you know, how kids carry around stuffed animals, except Kieran carries around a deadly weapon.
Okay, so what are your final overall thoughts on this episode?
Well, before we wrap up, there's a little tidbit at the end underneath the let's make it spicy.
I didn't even read it. Okay, yeah. You want to read it?
Sure. The storyboard version of this panel where Belladonna's first making her entrance and her hair is flying in the wind, or where she goes past and she has the random guys looking at her, and it's her kneecap makes me feel all sorts of ways. How can someone have such beautiful proximal phalanges? She's the cause of global warming. This is a random dude. You ain't no assassin. You're a thief. The thief of my heart. Davenport? What do you mean? Davenport.
That's great.
Okay. This character isn't introduced till later, but I just realized while reading this, Mindy and Lori, you guys should know. And anyone who's like farther upon. Just the way that it introduces with the foot, and then we see like the body, but not the head first, and then we see the like face.
Yep, it's
their
fate.
entrances. It's yeah, they were meant to be. Their entrances are very similar.
Yeah, they're soulmates. Let's say. Sorry. that's why I have to wrap up.
Fine. Yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts on the episode. I just really appreciate that when things are super dark and heavy, sometimes, you know, the authors find way to, the creators find ways to create some levity and bring some humor into the episode, even if it's just a little bit at the end.
Yeah. Overall, it was a shorter chapter, and there wasn't like I would say like there wasn't as much like, you know, physical action, but we did learn some very important things, especially about the operation, and we got introduced to my second favorite character. So
yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what's next, you know, and it's funny, and you know, we have some plot moving along. We learned a very important fact in this episode. And yeah, we're gonna see what comes next.
Oh, actually, I have to say, because I'm looking at the comments right now, and the second top comment is ex-girlfriend alert. I'm just gonna say, in my personal opinion, I have never seen Bella as a love interest for Kieran. Never. Okay. But even if she gets hate for it, where people are like, oh my god, no, she's gonna steal Kieran from Lauren or something. If I see hate like that, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna drop kick you into the sun. Because again, I will not tolerate people hating on a character just because they think that they're going to get in the way of a ship. That is not a good reason to hate someone. Okay, so no belladonna hate for, you know, even if she had a relationship with Kieran. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought so in the beginning. I'm not sure. I don't think so anymore, because I don't get those vibes after many, many episodes with them. But I definitely thought in the beginning that was a strong possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Also,
who knows? Well, I'll still be wrong.
also, I really hope, just in general, that people don't make belladonna's like main importance, like how she relates to Kieran. So like, because she is more than that, like just besides her relationship to Kieran, although it is important, she is not defined by her relationship with him. So like, I hope people don't belittle her to just important to Kieran's arc, because she is way more important than that, and she doesn't deserve that.
And I mean, you know, we're further along in the story, so we definitely know that's true. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Sorry, Lauren, I think we cut you off. But you were saying something before. I just called you Lauren, by the way, instead of Laura. Sorry.
It's fine. Yeah, Lauren, it's close enough. Nope, I think that was pretty much it.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much, and I will see you all again for another episode later.
Thank you. Nice chatting with you, ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye. Have a
Thank you
good
for
night.
having us. Good night.
Bye.